First of all, as a team that's kind of struggled a little bit to get results on the road, how important was it to be able to come back in Birmingham and get that point?
Yeah, definitely. A point on the road is always a good thing. I think it shows courage from our group. It shows growth. A couple weeks ago, we were write that game off, but as you can see, we worked together. We talked about it in the locker room. We created a game plan. We stick to it. We stick to the formation. The coach believed in the players on the field, and I think it shows camaraderie. It shows growth, going forward.
Yeah, what does it say about the group that after so many times where you said you would have written that game off, that you were able to fight until the end and until that last 4 minutes and get that time?
Yeah, it shows that we're getting better together. I think as the season goes, with a bunch of new players, it takes time for the chemistry to grow. But as you can see, we're fighting for each other, and I think that set us up for the rest of the season going forward.
At this point in the season, do you guys pay attention to the standings at all and your place in it?
We try not to, but of course it's inevitable. We're going to look at the standings. We know we need a couple points to get into the playoffs. We're only a few points out, but we kind of focus on just carrying out the game plan, being disciplined, being focused, kind of focus on how we could get better each day. So I think if we do that, then the results will speak for itself.
What is the mentality of the group going into Saturday? Now that you've gotten a couple games without a loss, and you've obviously got a big rivalry game coming up against Rhode Island.
Yeah, I think rivalries are always a big thing, especially for the fans. We want to give them bragging rights, but for us, Rhode Island is only a few points above. We need these 3 points to keep climbing to get into playoffs. But it's always teams that are close to us. We always treat that games as a playoff game. So it doesn't matter if it's just early August. We treat it like it's October.
How do you attack Rhode Island this weekend? How do you beat them?
I think, as you know, they're a good group, good defensively, good offensively, 2 big strikers up top. I think if it's going to be an end-to-end game back and forth, as defenders, we're going to have to be locked on, and I really feel that our striker is going to take the chances when they get it. I think if we go there and put pressure on them from early on, I think they can't live with us.
And, this being your second consecutive game on the road, again, that point comes into play again. I think from the fans' perspective, this is kind of viewed as one of the bigger games just because of the proximity between the two teams. How do the players and how does the group view this game? Is it just another game where you need to fight and get points, or is it a little bit more than that?
It's both, honestly. We do need to get points, but also because the proximity is close. It's kind of a home game because we will have a lot of fans there. The Hartford fans are diehard, so we'll have a lot of fans there, so that will help for sure. But only 2 hours away is basically a home game, just that they might have slightly more fans than us, but we treat it as important. We need points. We need to win. That's what we're going for.
So obviously you had that goal that gave you guys a point on the road. Just what helped you guys kind of fight back for that point in Birmingham?
Yeah, I think that was an important game. It was a important point for us. It was a tough game. You can see first half, but our game plan was good. Was trying to break them down in the last minute or whatever to score a goal. So yeah.
And since I know you guys have been struggling a little bit for results on the road, how important is that going into Rhode Island on Saturday?
Yeah, we know that it's gonna be a tough game. We're preparing for that. You guys can see against Birmingham how we did. So we have the same mentality to go there and get a point.
What do you remember about the last time you played Rhode Island?
It was kind of physical game, fast. So we get ready for that. You can see how we train every day. So we push and clear our mind to be ready for the point. So yeah.
How's the team feeling right now? What's the mentality like ahead of this big game?
Really high. So you can see the joy in the training. Everybody ready for the game, and we're just ready to go get a point.
What was it like training? I know there was a little bit of rain and weather today, and that's maybe supposed to continue into the rest of the week. Was that maybe part of the reason that you decided to train outside today?
Not really. I think it's feel good training a little bit rainy. It's fine. We enjoy it, to be honest.
So,
what are your takeaways from the Birmingham game?
I thought we had a really good look at goal early on. I think if we take that one, we probably separate in that game. I thought we were set up to absorb their pressure and hit out. We hit out. We missed a big chance, and they scored a big chance right after it. So that put us in a little bit of a hole, and then a lapse on the set piece, which we haven't had much of this year at all. But to go in down 2-0 at halftime, and come out and play the way we did in the second half is just another sign of growth. Away from home, at a playoff team, a team that's in the playoffs every year, and to come out and put 2 goals on them at their place, that was excellent. And I thought there were a lot of big contributors to that effort. I thought Danny Barrera was really good in the game and impactful. I thought Momo obviously was very impactful, and I think collectively everyone stepped up to a different level on the ball and dictated the game a little more.
What changed? I know you guys have struggled a lot on the road this year, and as you said, to come out against a very good team at a very hard place to play and come back from 2 goals down, I mean, what kind of drove that in the second half?
Well, we said at halftime, there's a real sense of urgency. We're backs to the wall now. We can't let points slip. We got to grab points on the road wherever we can. You have to have them at home as much as possible. And we didn't want to be in that position at midseason, but that's where we are. So we have to accept that and give it a little extra energy, a little extra level of concentration, even more than we would normally give it. And I think that came through in the second half.
Danny's been starting as well the last couple games, and it seems like he's had a pretty positive impact. What has he given things? How has he changed things on the field for you guys?
Yeah, the final third actions, I think, are where he makes a huge difference on the field. And he's intelligent. He puts himself in the right spaces. The way to pass is good. He's creative. So I think he adds an element that we've needed.
What did you learn from the last Rhode Island game that you're applying to this one?
I thought they were really good on the ball, better than I expected in the second half of that game. I think in the first half of that game, my takeaway would have been we probably should have put the game away before halftime and left them in it. And, at that point, they started to really get a foothold in the game. So I think these, especially derby games, are become about, can you hit first, can you hit often? You can't take your foot off the gas. There's no lulls in these games. There's no 15-minute period where things will slow down and be under control. It's just not the way these games set up. And especially the way they're playing now. You saw them play in Detroit. That game was extremely, extremely physical. So that's what we have to prepare for. That's what we have to expect. They're in great form.
Yeah, and I mean, I know from the fans' perspective, this is kind of viewed as bigger than just a normal game, given the nature of the rivalry. I'm wondering if the players view that the same way, how you guys are approaching that game, or is this just going to kind of be seen as another game where you have to earn points?
Yeah, it's new to all of us. I think the proximity makes it a rivalry, right? These players know each other from different cities around the league. I don't know that there's a deep-seated hatred between the two clubs. I would never say that. I think that the proximity brings the opportunity for there to be a really big rivalry to grow out of this. And I think Kano and his staff are doing a fantastic job, so they're going to be tough to beat for years to come. So I think that'll naturally just make this a really difficult game going forward.
That last 15 minutes in Birmingham, how important was that going into a game like Rhode Island against a team at home that's been in really good form?
Yeah, it's a huge point. We said it right after the game. That could be the point that gets us into the playoffs. That's how we have to think now. Every point could be that point. And we have to work with urgency to get 3 points, not just 1. But anything we get on the road is an improvement on our earlier road form. So it was really important. It was momentum. We retained momentum by getting that point.
What do you remember from the environment the last time you guys played Rhode Island that makes you think this could be a budding rivalry?
I thought both fans were into it, but in a really positive way. I remember them having a big away presence. Hopefully we have a big away presence at their place, and hopefully it just grows and grows and grows from there. It's so fun to be a part of an environment like that. I just remember it being loud and generally positive.
And finally, going into Rhode Island, you're now unbeaten in 2. What is the key to the game to go there and come out with a win?
Well, you always want to keep a clean sheet, but they're hot, and they've put up amongst the league leaders in goals. So one of our areas of focus has to be, controlling where the game's played and trying to dictate terms, trying to push them into the spaces that we want defensively, but then we also have to retain the ball. We were over 50% possession in Birmingham, and I'd like to be that out in Rhode Island.
Thank you.
Great, thanks.
All right, thanks, guys.